Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the October 2022 plugin roundup here on iThemes Training. My name is Nathan Ingram. I am the host here at iThemes Training, and once a month we take a look across the WordPress plugin directory and we pull out about a dozen or so plugins that we found to be interesting. One thing I will note, we added this, I think, a couple months ago, is that here on the iThemes Training site at training.ithemes.com, there is a link now to suggest a plugin. So if you've run across a plugin that you like, that you'd like to suggest, it does need to be a free plugin in the WordPress plugin directory. Please just fill out the form, and you can stack up to, I think we said 5 different plugins. So just give us the name and the link to the plugin, and we'll consider that for inclusion in the next roundup. So we would really appreciate you doing that. And I'm going to drop that link in the chat if you already have one you're thinking about. And yeah, so we love to have involvement from everybody and good suggestions across the board for adding things to the plugin roundup. Beth, you get a prize if you can. I'll mention your name on the plugin roundup. How's that? But many of you already get your names mentioned, so that's not much of an incentive. But this is, here are this month's plugins. If you are just joining us and you would like the link, let me share that one more time. Again, if somebody wouldn't mind copying that and sharing it later with anybody that comes in late, I won't be able to share that again after now because I'll be focused elsewhere. Yeah, so this is our we got a pretty good list this month. I was talking in the pre-show chat just briefly about in the fall and spring, plugins tend to get a little bit better as far as you know, what's available out there. Developers are doing some fun work. And so let's get started with the first plugin on the list, which I believe was suggested by somebody in an office hours. Does anybody remember who suggested this? If members are out there and around, one of y'all suggested this one and we tested it and we really like it. It is called Maven Class. Yeah, it might have been Class. Somebody really smart and helpful suggested this great plugin from Corner Shop Creative called Media Deduper. And the question in office hours, as I recall, was about, you know, how can you clean up an old media library? Like maybe there's a bunch of duplicate images that have gotten uploaded, or images that aren't attached to anything anymore, like the post got moved or deleted or whatever. And, you know, now the image is sitting out there taking up space. And this is a really good solution, surprisingly so, from Corner Shop Creative. So let's just go in here and activate this. And actually may already be active. Nope, I deactivated it. So let's go in and activate this. And I find this to be pretty helpful. There's also a really good pro version that you might consider upgrading to if it's going to be helpful to you. So Media Deduper. Now, as this is loading, just as always, of course, with anything related to cleaning up the website, cleaning up the media library, be sure you have a good backup before you do any of these things, because gone is gone, deleted is forever. And, you know, if you don't have a backup, you're toast. But once activated, what happens here is that we go under media and manage duplicates. Now, we've already run our scan, so you can prompt it to manually reindex here. But we already have a nice little page of duplicates here. And the cool thing about this is it doesn't care about the name of the image or the title of the image in WordPress. It's actually looking at the image data and comparing that to other images. So we're looking for exact matches of images. So it's really interesting. It knows, look, we've got all these various duplicate images that are here. It will show you, is it attached to anything? So these 2 images actually are not attached to any page or post on the site. So that's helpful. This one is attached to a private post. And this one, it actually shows us which post it's attached to. So there's 2 copies of identical images and so forth. So Stacy's asking if it recognizes if alt text is entered and does not delete that one. The pro version does recognize if there's missing alt text, but I'm not sure if the presence of alt text gives it preference as to which image it deletes. That'd be something to talk to the developer about. And that would be pretty interesting to see. So does it consider the size? So I don't know the answer to that question. That'd be something you'd want to test and see. how it's working. So again, there's a lot of great questions here. And obviously we don't have time to fully exhaustively test all these plugins. We just found them interesting. So is it WPML compatible? Heather, I have no idea. So this would be something to install and play around with. It's free in the plugin plugin directory, and just install it and play around with it. What we've discovered here is it will bulk delete. There's the option to permanently delete, but then the smart delete feature is pretty cool, and that's where some of this alt text and questions might come in. But basically, what it does is it goes in and like, is this image present as the featured image of a post? And if it is, if we delete one, we're going to swap it over. Like, in other words, if the featured image is using the duplicate image that you're going to delete, it will put in the original image in its place so nothing gets broken. So again, this is a destructive plugin. Like, you can really screw things up potentially. So you'll make sure you have a backup, maybe do this on a staging site and play around with it. But it looks like a really good solution to a problem that a lot of us have, especially with an older website that's collected a lot of media over the years, especially if you or your client is a media image hoarder, like those shows they have on some of the cable stations of people who their houses are jam-packed with things. I mean, some media libraries look like that, right? So this looks like an interesting solution, certainly worthy of testing and seeing if it works for you. Any other questions or comments about Media Deduper from Corner Shop Creative? Beth says the furniture client uses the same image for different sizes of mattresses. So Beth, the Pro version integrates with WooCommerce. And my guess is, from what we've looked at, again, in a very cursory way, what we've looked at here is it would recognize that and let it use one image across all the things. So interesting. Billy, I don't know. You'd want to test it with Happy Files. My guess is I don't think there would be a problem, but this is definitely something you're going to want to make a staging site, practice with it, play with it, see what it actually does. And again, I think it appears to be a really good solution to this problem. Anybody else before we move on? Pretty good one right out of the gate, right? That's Media Deduper. All right, next up is a plugin called Stepper. Step Contents by B Plugins LLC. So we've done a number of the B Plugins plugins over the last year or so. They really have put out a bunch of things, and let's just activate this. So it's a really niche plugin, but have you ever created documentation for a client on how to do certain things? Or maybe your site is your site might be providing content that's like a step-by-step process for something. This is a really cool approach to laying out that sort of content. So let me activate. Oh, it's already activated. Stepped content. And we have a page set up for that, as I recall. And something already set up so you can see how it works. So watch this. All right. So this is our stepped content. Let's just show you what it looks like on the front end. Let's see, preview in a new tab. Not sure why that just happened. All right, preview in a new tab. So here's how it looks. So each step you can actually put a time, like roughly how much time you think it will take, or you can leave that blank. But as you go through the steps, this is what it does. Look at that. And you can put lots of things there. And this is all using the block editor. You can put video, anything you can put in the block editor, you can put something there. So it's rather interesting. And here's what it looks like on the back end. So this is one of those situations where I am really grateful for the list view that they've put into the block editor here, because it makes dealing with this much, much easier, because sometimes it's hard to get to exactly what you want here in the block editor. So if we open this down, step, 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 let's say we want to edit step 2, for example. Let's click on the second step. Problem is, it's not, I can't get wide enough on this screen to show off very well. I'll try that. So right here, this is, it just makes it easy to select which element of the step we're actually looking at. Same for here. Like if we want to get to this bear on a swing, which is interesting, just gives us the ability to do all those things. So again, you can drop video in here. You can do all of that. Is each step a separate post? No, it's all right here in one block editor layout. So in the main stepped content block, you have options for all the colors. You have, option to set the title here. You've got the different settings and whether or not to show a done link. And you can link that to something, like you can turn this off if you want to. So you've got some options here. And as you get into each step, you also can deal with the individual bits of content there. So it's pretty interesting. Might be helpful on maybe you're running, like a help site for your clients where you've got, your own documentation of step-by-step, anything that needs to be explained in steps. This is pretty darn good. I kind of like it. So that is, again, stepped content or stepped content from B plugins. Any questions or comments about that one? Roy, that's a great question. Can they be rearranged? I don't know, but if you could, oh, look at that. Yep, sure enough, right there. You have to retitle the step, but yes. And by the way, if you want to add a new step, it's right here. This little plus button will let you add a new step down at the bottom. So yeah, you can rearrange. You can't do it here, but you can do it in the list view. Good question. All right, anybody else on this one before we move on? Yes, it is a block editor. So this is a block that you drop into a page, and then you can edit the contents. Yep, a page or a post. Okay, moving on down the next one. How many folks using WooCommerce here? This is, you're either going to love this or you're going to hate it. This is an alternate way to view your orders in something like a Kanban board. It is called Easy Order View from Woo Delivery Plugins. And I've got it activated already. So I'm just going to click here and take a look at how it works. So it actually views it right here. Here's all our open orders from various webinars past. And if we want to process this order, we can just do it right here. We can add a note to the order and save it. We can hit process, and it's going to move it right over there. Boom. So that one's completed. If I want to change it, I can do that. There, it's completed. So processing it moves it over to here, and preparing, and then completed, it goes away. We can also change the status here as well. So it's interesting. It's a visual thing, but if you have a client that's processing orders, might be a little better than the standard WooCommerce order list. And again, it's going to be love it or hate it kind of situation, but pretty interesting potentially. There's no settings. It is what it is. And that's it. That is Easy Order View from Woo Delivery Plugins. They say a pro version is coming soon, so we'll see. Beth, no, it does not replace the standard order view. It just adds a new menu item here, but all your orders are still here under WooCommerce orders. Like so. No, Paul, that was one thing that I had hoped you could do, which is click and drag. These don't drag, no, but so you have to use the buttons to process. Any other questions about this? Well, Paul, that would be more Trello-like, but it is still a Kanban board, essentially. All right. Easy order view from Woo Delivery. All right, let's move on to the next one, shall we? Another WooCommerce plugin. This one I kind of like. This is Easy Note for WooCommerce. And what this plugin allows you to do is very simply, which is why it's called Easy, add a note either for internal or send to the customer use on an order. So let's say, something's delayed or shipment or whatever. What this will actually, let you do is, I think this plugin is still active. Let me make sure. It was one of the last ones I tested. Yes. All right. So here under orders, let's just edit this order. Notice that there is at the bottom here, see a whole bunch of notes have stacked up here. There is the option at the bottom of this column to add a note. And you have an option of whether this is a private note or a note to the customer. If it's a private note, it just stays on the order like this one. So this is a private note. It's just right there. So you could, just leave little notes to yourself about this order along the way. The customer called, they did this, there's some thing going on. So you can go back and refer to that within the order. If you change this to note to customer, watch this. Sample for plugin Roundup demo, add. All right, so this it shows up here, but I'm also going to get an email because it's going to send to, let me see if I should be able to copy this URL. Right there. So this is just whatever branding you have set up for your WooCommerce site. Hi, Nathan. The following note has been added to your order. Boom. There's that. And then it does also include a summary of the order down below. So whatever you enter as the note will go out to the customer in an email. So that's pretty helpful to keep just a very simple way of communication on the order with each customer. So that's what it does. That is Easy Note for WooCommerce, either internal or external use. Pretty cool. From the Big Ben team. Any questions or comments on that one? Okie dokie. Rolling on down the list to a plugin from Jeff Starr. Jeff Starr is a great WordPress developer. He's the guy that built the Disable Gutenberg plugin a long time ago that I know some of you used. This is a nifty little plugin. It's very simple. It's called Simple Login Notification. But basically, if you want to know when an admin logs into your site, this will send you an email. That's literally what it does. That's it. It's simple. It's very light. It's just a few lines of code. And it totally works. So if, let's see if I can. Well, I'll just zoom in here. There's really no sense in activating this because this is what it looks like. This is the email. When we tested this, this is what it was. So when an admin logged into the site with this plugin active, it says this is the name of the login, whoever logged in. What where they tried to log in at, which in this case, we use the passwordless login prompt from iTheme Security, what the referrer was, and just some various user, agent, server, the host, all the various IP addresses and so forth. So essentially just a simple notification to let you know that an admin logged into your site right then. And the email sends right upon login. So if you're watching, where this could be really helpful is, for example, if you follow my process, which is the client gets an admin user for, for break glass in case of emergency situations, maybe you want to have a plugin like this that emails you when an admin logs in and it's not you. You could right away say, oh, wait a minute, this is the client logging in with the email address they're not supposed to be using to edit the website. You cannot exclude users. There's no settings here. It's just, again, it's a few lines of code. The PHP code is basically, if the user logs in and they're an admin, send this email. Like it's teeny tiny code. So it's pretty cool. Simple. I mean, there's other plugins, like you could use the, I think Stream the Stream plugin will allow, we featured that one in months past. Stream will allow you to actually specify down to the username if this person logs in, what the event is. There's other plugins that will do that as well. You know, one of the Zapier-like WordPress integrations. But this one is just for everybody, just a few lines of code, very light, you know, not going to slow the site down, anything like that. So Activity Log Billy is another one that will do that. Vera, great question. Vera asks, do you get emails when bots try to log in? Well, if they actually log in, yes. But when this is only going to fire if the person actually logged in, not if they attempted to log in. It's a good question. All right. Any other questions or comments on that one? Simple login notification. All right, we're rocking and rolling here. Let's scroll on down to what I am certain, just absolutely certain, is going to be everybody's favorite plugin of the Roundup. We saw this one and we thought this has to go in the Roundup because what every website is missing is a scrolling marquee. Am I right? Like we've been missing these for years. Who remembers back in the day where you had the CGI script that would scroll a marquee across the website, and then it actually became an HTML tag like a marquee and you could scroll it? Heck yes. So your waiting time is over, my friends, because now there is the Marquee Block from Themes Kingdom. Let's activate it, shall we? It does not blink. That's the only thing that would make this better. This is the Marquee plugin, and it's actually called the Marquee Block, not a Marquee Block, but the Marquee Block. Let's activate this. As you can see, you know, I am highly invested in this plugin. Oh my goodness. Okay, come on. Okay, it's wanting to, I'm pressing the wrong button. Okay, so here's the Marquee Block. And here it is in action because everybody wants to see it in action. Isn't this gorgeous? You can even set it to be the most obnoxious Google font of your choice. There it is. The Marquee Block right there. Can you slow it down? Yes. So let's edit this page, shall we? It actually has a lot of settings. So let's highlight the block and look what we have, this typography. So you can pick whatever Google font you want. Oh my goodness, that is mighty scary. I don't know what half of these are, but all the Google fonts are here, which, by the way, if you can't use Google fonts where you are due to privacy issues, then this is not going to be helpful to you. You can set the font weight. I don't know. Now I'm really invested in finding a good Google font. Oh, that's it. That's got to be it right there. Because if you're going to have a marquee, it should at least not be readable, right? Ben, is it accessible? What do you think? Actually, I think it is, Ben. I actually think it is. We'll look at that on the front end in a minute. Background and foreground colors. I mean, this is too tame of a color, so it should be bright pink in honor of our professor from years past. And why not make it a yellow foreground? There's your scrolling speed option. Do you want to stop the marquee when you hover over it? You can do that. You can reverse direction if you'd like to do that. It will also fixed position to the top or the bottom, although I had some trouble with this for some reason on the Cadence theme. There's something going on there. Then you can set the margins. You want to remove the top and bottom margin from the block. You can do that. And then the regular just CSS classes. So with those settings made, let's view the front end. And I mean, how do you not love this? I want 4 of those on a page, actually, is what I want. As far as the accessibility, let me put it this way. If you're worried about accessibility, I'm not sure. I mean, you're probably not going to use this plugin anyway. Accessibility is not my first concern when it comes to this page. What in the world is all of this? Okay, so it's literally just a series of spans for some reason. What in the world? No, this is not well, it's accessible, but it's going to read this 100 times. Each one of these spans seem to be identical. So, I mean, strangely, this plugin has accessibility issues. I mean, I'm shocked, quite frankly. So, you know, I'm disappointed. Gutted. That's the word, Ben. Thank you. I am gutted. You can't say gutted with a Southern accent if you're an American. You really need a British accent to say gutted properly, don't you? Okay. Look, it does stop when you scroll over it, though. Anyway, that is the Marquee Block from Themes Kingdom, and you're welcome. Okay, moving down the list to OffCanvas/drawer plugin. OffCanvas/drawer. This plugin actually allows an OffCanvas drawer to be added to your website. So let's activate it, shall we? Yeah. Oh, it's already active. Okay, good. There's several I did not deactivate after I tested them the last time. Okay, so here it is. You click it. Oh, look, something slides over. That's basically what it is. It's an off-canvas content. A lot of things do this. I think we've even done some other plugins that do this sort of thing. Sherry says, what do you put in said drawer? Well, it could be lots of things. It could be various content. It could be a call to action. It could be a newsletter sign up. It could be lots of different things, but everything over here is powered by the block editor. So let's take a look at it, shall we? Sue, does this work at all with the Cadence off canvas thing? It's very similar. And if you have Cadence, you already have this. Yeah, very similar. So it wouldn't work with it. It would be, you would use Cadence probably in place of this because it's already, something like this is already included in Cadence blocks. But so right here, when this is open, what you'll notice is I can now edit all of this in the block editor. So that's really helpful. You can put, images, you can put videos, you can put whatever you want. This actually happens to be a WooCommerce product block that is there. Yeah, so that is it. And that's what it does. You do have some options here to the block, positioning it top right or bottom. But I kind of like the idea of a bottom tray. You have to play around with the layout just a little bit. I didn't play around with it really long enough to get it to work like I would want it to work, but it's still kind of cool. Like this would be an interesting thing for put a marquee. Sue says, put a marquee in that. I'm going to spare you all that whole experience, but I mean, we totally could, right? I didn't do any styling of the marquee, but it should at least be text. Oh, it doesn't work. Look, it doesn't work. It just repeats 5,000 times. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, you'd have to troubleshoot that. Heather, you are welcome. Yes. Do you have to be? Yeah, these are all blocks. Elizabeth is asking if you have to be using the block editor. Yes, these are all, these plugins, the last few have been just blocks. Correct. Is there a business to developing retro websites? Well, I mean, sure. Why not? At this point, why not? Okay. And by the way, if you're not using block editor for things, there are off-canvas modules for most of the major page builders that do similar things. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or comments? If you're catching this on the replay, y'all, just the chat alone is just worth it. You folks entertain me quite a bit. Bleedy, can you add this to regular Cadence off canvas and use it as a dismissible notification info modal? Maybe. that's an interesting way to look at it. Maybe you'd want to play around with that a little bit. Again, like I never want to give anybody the idea that we're sitting here and we've spent like an hour on each of these plugins testing all the possible ways they could be used. That's just, there's not enough time in life for that, but they're interesting, right? And so, Vlidi, I would encourage you to activate it and try it and see where it gets you. It's pretty interesting. Okay. Next up here is scrolling. Another nice little block called the Gutena Lightbox. So there's a bunch of Gutena plugins out there by Express Tech. We've got a couple of them here on the plugin roundup this month. This Lightbox is actually one of the nicer video Lightbox plugins that I've seen. So let's get that one active, shall we? Actually, I'm going to go through here. It's about the time in the roundup where we should be deactivating a bunch of things so we don't get inadvertent bumping of heads and clashing. Because clearly all of these are incredibly high quality programming. Most of them actually are pretty good so far this month. Okay, Gutena Lightbox. Let's take a look at that, shall we? All right, let's open up the Lightbox page here. And we have a Lightbox set up here for you already. It is a block. Let's just add a new one just so you see what it looks like. Video Lightbox, we'll add that. You can choose a style, whether it's a round button or a square play button. And it already provides that. You can change the image, of course, by clearing the media. You can add an alt text if you'd like. You can change the focal point of the image, like a cover block. It's basically, this is kind of like it's a cover block. You can fix it. You can repeat it. You can do various things with it. And then you can type, whatever it is right here. And then on the play button, you have control over the style. And you can paste a location from either YouTube or Vimeo, such as this one. Whoop, I hit the button. Hang on a minute. Oh, maybe is it two Lightbox? All right, hang on. Maybe it doesn't like that there's two Lightboxes on the page. Because I didn't test it with a second Lightbox. No, there it is. Boom. So yeah, there we go. Sue, does this get blocked by pop-up blockers? I don't know. You'd want to test that. I'm running a pop-up blocker and it didn't block it. So I think this is probably a Lightbox like this. Oftentimes, because it's triggered, I don't think a pop-up blocker is going to catch that. It might. It's not really a pop-up window. It's a modal. So yeah, you'd have to test it, but I think you might be able to get around those. That one didn't have a link in it. So really easy to set up and use. Simple styling. Yeah. So that is the Gutena Lightbox from Express Tech. Any other questions or comments on that one? Okie dokie. Next one down the list from Gutena is the Gutina Forms plugin. And it's a good basic form block. Now, if you are using Cadence blocks, Cadence, of course, already has a really nice form, simple, easy to use. This is one if you happen not to be using Cadence for whatever reason. This is a nice little form plugin that does all the form type things right there in the block editor. So if you're not familiar with a block editor based form like the Cadence form, it is a little bit different than, say, Gravity Forms or any of the other types of forms that are out there, which, you design the form within that plugin's interface, then you just sort of drop that in as a block. With a block-based form like the Cadence form or like this Gutena one, you're actually building the form right there inside the page. So let's take a look at that. It's a little bit of a different experience if you've never seen that before. So here's the actual sample form we had set up. And all of, like, we're on a page. So, this, we can drop in whatever we want here. This is just the block editor inside a page. And you just click in here and type, you just type whatever you want for the labels. You can type whatever you want as the placeholder item right there, whether it's required or not. If you want to add more fields, you literally you add a field group, and then you can add additional fields in there if you want to. One nice thing about this is when you drop in a field here, you can decide, is it text, just simple text? Is it a text area? Is it an email field, or is it a select field? So it doesn't support checkboxes or radio buttons. It does offer a drop down, and you get a live preview of that right here. But and you can set up the various options of what it's going to be. All of the styling stuff is over here. Yeah. So this is a typical block-based form builder. Works really well. If you're not using the Cadence block already, this one's a good one. If you have some site you're using building that's not running Cadence blocks, this is a good option. Barbara, does the form keep a copy of the entry like Gravity Forms? No, it does not. It does not. And Billy, I agree with you. I am a longtime Gravity Forms user and will continue to be. All right. So there's a good example of a block-based form creator, which we'll start to see more and more of those things as the block editor continues to grow. Scrolling down the list is one of my actual favorite useful type plugins of this roundup, which is called MergeMenus. And it merges menus. This is one of those, I'm certainly not going to install it on every site, but good grief, what a great plugin for my toolbox. Menuing in WordPress and building menus, it's not hard to understand, but if you've got a menu with like 40 items in it, and then you need to duplicate that for a mobile menu and do some things with it, or, whatever, I don't want to have to reset up all of those fields again. MergeMenus takes care of that. So basically what it's going to let you do is whatever menu you have open, you can merge the content of another menu into that one. So you could take an existing menu and merge another menu into it. You could start with a blank menu and merge a few different menus into it. And it's really, really easy to use. So let's activate that plugin, MergeMenus. It's already active. We'll go into menus, and I'm just going to I'm going to start with a new menu. I'm going to call it MergeMenus Demo. And so it's just a brand new blank WordPress menu. And what you do is you go down here to the last option, which is MergeMenus, and pick one of your existing menus. So here's my mobile menu. I'm going to click that one and click merge. Now, what it's doing is it's pulling all those items out of the mobile menu, boom, and it dropped it in right there. So if I go, well, let me save this. If I go to my mobile menu, you'll see that it's identical. It just took the contents of that mobile menu and dropped it into the one I just created. So there's also, I have a menu here called Member Menu that just has a few options from some webinar we did at some point, Member. Let's merge that one in as well. So there's my MergeMenu demo. Let's go to edit that one. And I'm going to merge into this, my member menu as well. And it's just going to drop those in down there at the bottom. Boom, there they are. I mean, how easy is that? Super great, simple. I love plugins like this. These are my favorite kinds of plugins. For a long time on Plugin Roundup, we called those our toolbox plugins, or simple but useful plugins. And it really is a super time saver. There are other plugins, and we've done plugins called like Duplicate Menu is one. If you just need to duplicate a menu, great. This does that. As you can see, you can just duplicate it into a blank menu, but also merge other menus into it should you need to do that. So yeah, I like that. A lot of times we'll use this on a site that has maybe multiple tiers of menus, like a top level menu with some basic nav and then the main nav under that. And for the mobile menu, this would be a great tool for that, because you could duplicate your primary menu into the mobile menu and then merge in that top level menu that shows up there as well. into maybe the bottom part, or move it however you want to do it. So really helpful. That is MergeMenus from WP Help Desk UK. Any other questions or comments on that one? Pretty good stuff. Okay, the next plugin is the controversial plugin of the month. I, at first, when we discovered this, I said, no, no way. And I just realized there's a funny joke I could make about that. And some of you, upon reading what's on the screen, will get that. I said, no way. And because this just did not sound like a good idea to me as soon as I realized what was going on. However, having actually been back and forth a bit with the developer on this plugin, I am interested. And here's what this does. How many of you have ever, maybe you've used the WP Rollback plugin? Are you familiar with that? WP Rollback is a plugin from the, hang on a minute, let me actually just get it here real quick. Let's add new. Or it may, yeah, if you type WP Rollback, it's from the WordImpress team, which is the team that created GiveWP. Oh, it's actually by GiveWP now, which is now, of course, a sister brand to iThemes. And actually, the developer of this plugin is now my boss at iThemes, Matt Cromwell. And WP Rollback is a great plugin, and it lets you roll back versions of plugins that are in the WordPress plugin directory. Let me just show you how this works. If you don't know about WP Rollback, you should. And so I'm just going to take a moment to show you that. Like, for example, here, this auto delete post with WP Rollback active, you can click Rollback, and it will show you all the versions of that plugin that exist in that plugin's history on the WordPress.org plugin directory. And you can select a version and roll it back. So if a version has a problem, you can just roll it back. It's really easy to do. Now, the problem is this doesn't work for WP Rollback, doesn't work for plugins that are not in the WordPress plugin directory, because it goes back to the WordPress plugin directory history to pull the versions that you want to load. So it's not helpful, for example, if you want to roll back Backup Buddy, or like Beaver Builder or Gravity Forms, or those, right? This is the problem the developer behind PlugVersions, Jose Mortellaro, was trying to solve. And he's done it in an interesting way. So what he's actually doing is whenever a plugin updates, he saves the last 3 versions in the plugin list. They're just hidden. And you might go, they're just hidden. And let me show you what that actually looks like. So you may notice that there are, I think I did it with the Beaver plugin. Yeah, okay. So here under Beaver Builder, there's this thing called revisions. That is from PlugVersions. PlugVersions is active. You'll see. There it is. Actually, let me remove WP Rollback just so we don't have any confusion here. All right. So we have these revisions. And notice, oh, I can replace this with a previous version. Like right here, Beaver Themer, for example, is at 1.4.3.2. I can roll it back to this plugin. Okay. So here's what it's doing. I realize, yes, all the things you're posting in the chat. Yes, I've thought about this as well. So here's what it's actually doing. Let me just go to the cPanel for this site, and I'm going to log into public HTML, and I'm going to log into WP content and plugins, and scrolling down. Okay. Here's what it's actually done. So it has created folders named PR-8 random characters dash the version number dash ver dot and then the slug of the plugin itself, because this is where it's going to pull the revision from. Now, this is interesting, okay, because it does allow you to roll back premium plugins, which sometimes you can't find the old versions of things. Now, Stacy has asked the question that made me go, no way, because what happens, for example, and this, by the way, this works for all plugins. So you can see here, for example, that I have rolled back another plugin here. Which one was it? It was, Would have been nice if I had remembered which one that was. I think it's the very top. No? Well, this works for free plugins as well. So this is for all plugins, basically. If you have this, if you have the PlugVersions active, it works for all plugins, and you'll see a revisions here. So what happens if a plugin is vulnerable? Well, it's going to keep a copy of the vulnerable plugin right here in a folder. But, and this was the argument of the developer, what are the odds that a hacker can actually guess? I mean, they would have to know this exact name of this folder to access the vulnerable scripts. And while I don't like the idea of having vulnerable plugin on my site, the chances of it being accessed are just like, you know, they would have to have file level access to my WordPress site. And at that point, it doesn't matter for them really to guess this. I mean, it's an 8-character random string. I don't know. So it's an interesting approach to solving a problem that many of us have run into, which is, how do I roll back a premium theme or plugin that's not in the WordPress directory and WP rollback doesn't work? So this is our controversial plugin of the day. What do you think? What do you think? Oh, Barney's saying, if my clients had this, I would have to start drinking. Well, they can update plugins already, right? I mean, if they have access to rollback, and my clients don't get access to the plugins unless they log in as their admin user anyway. So anyway, what do you think? Super powerful. It can be. Like, what if it's only for your site? That's like literally your site. Interesting. Interesting, right? That's why I went away from saying no way to, huh. There you go. So that is PlugVersions. And there you have it. Oh, by the way, one thing that's actually very cool is if I go in here and deactivate the plugin and delete the plugin, let's see. Did it delete? No, it's still deleting. I had this problem earlier. I think I've got a permissions issue. What it's supposed to do is go in. It's still trying to delete here. It may just take a minute, but it's going to go in and clean up all the stuff that it added. It's having a little bit of trouble. I think I've got some security issue preventing it from doing that. But anyway, that is PlugVersions. There you have it. All right, next up. Okay, this is also potentially my favorite plugin of the Roundup. I've got a few that I really like here. This is one, I don't know if I'd ever use it, but block diffusion is just fun. Okay, it is just fun. How many of you seen these new AI image creators? Like where you type a thing and it creates an image of that. That's what this is. So block diffusion, let me activate block diffusion. And let's just jump over to that page. I think we have an example there. And I want somebody to give me an example of something to make an image of. A horse, okay? A horse on an asteroid with a wolf. Okay, I'm mashing up Elizabeth's suggestion with Stacy's suggestion. And so let's do block diffusion. It's a block. And whoa, what just happened? Oh, here we go. Okay, something was taking forever. Okay, so we're going to prompt to image, and we can set our size. Let's do 1024 by 768. Why not? And this is going to be a horse and wolf on an asteroid. Submit. Going to take a minute because the AI is AIing. It is processing. It is thinking really hard about this and wondering who in the world wants a horse and a wolf on an asteroid. Oh, look, it's a wolf horse. Wow. I don't know what to think about this. So yes, let's import this into the editor because why not? Yes. Okay. Melanie says Tinkerbell with a purple hat. And I don't think it's going to work with Tinkerbell because that is a copyright thing. Fairy. Okay. Let's do fairy with a purple hat eating ice cream. Was that it? Okay. Let's try that again. And look, and it actually pulled in the alt text from the image that this is just so much fun. Okay. All right. So we said fairy with purple hat eating ice cream. So we're talking, takes a minute. Now we're processing. Look at that. I mean, although she has a wing coming out of her head. I don't know about that, but there it is. Kind of creepy, but it's AI. What do you want? So let's do one more. A bulldozer in sand dunes from Mr. Taubman earlier. Chris is asking, when would you ever use something like that? Well, what the heck? I'm not sure what's happening here. Oh, bulldozer. Paul didn't spell it correctly. Bulldozer. So, hey, if you don't want to pay for stock art, here's what you do. Look at that. Yes. So you can make your own stock art, right? Iced tea on a rocking chair. Beth. Nathan with hair. Those pictures exist. It's been a while, but they do exist. Oh, I see. I see a tea. That's not going to be helpful. Yeah. Oh, Ben, if you submit it twice, does it show a different image? Probably because it's generating it. Let's try it again. Yeah, it's going to be a different image. John, yes, you can. This is absolutely a time suck. Look at that. See, completely different image. I could see this being used in a blog post. That's a pretty darn good picture, right? Kind of. Also, it kind of looks like might be a beverage of another kind. Okay. Anyway, you get the idea. You can import that right into the editor, and it's going to be in your media library and so forth. Yeah. So it's going to be in our media library, just like any other image, just pulls it right in. There you go. Except it calls it AI prompt, blah, 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 blah. And there you have it. All right. That is block diffusion. Any other questions or comments about that one? Okay. Moving down the list to today's final plugin, and the one that I think might make some of you who understand the power of this go, wow, that's amazing. It is called Goal Tracker from PineWise. Goal Tracker from PineWise. Okay. How many of you, after the Google Analytics Bootcamp a couple weeks ago, or whenever that was, no, last month, how many of you have gotten into setting up goal tracking with GA4? Have you done that yet? You may discover that getting those things to work with Google Tag Manager and all of that is a little, not okay. So Stacy, you tried. Were you successful? On one so far, right? But it's a bit of work, isn't it? So what this is going to do, I forgot to sign into my analytics account, so I'm doing that now. Okay. What this is going to do is make that a lot more easy. More easy. It's going to make it easier. Is what I'm trying to say. So let's activate Goal Tracker. It is not currently active. Goal Tracker. And let's go down here. What I've done is we've set up a page. It has a couple buttons on it. Let me get that open so you can see what's going on. And then let's open up Goal Tracker. It gives you a UI to make this really, really easy. And goal tracking, meaning they click this button, for example. Whatever the goals of a site are, they click this button, they viewed this page, they did whatever. So we have our GA account already connected here. It's a simple process. Just took a second. And, there's some other options here to click on. But I'm going to go specifically to click tracking. And I'm going to edit this one. Oh, my goodness. Did it go away? Oh, no, here it is. Okay, just took a second to show up. So we've set up actually 2 click tracks. And look at all we had to do. We gave it a name. That can be anything you want it to be. We have put in whatever the class or ID we want to track, which in this case is, well, there's tracked button the second. And we've given it a property of CTA, but really we're just going to fire this. So it's this event on a class like this. The other one is similar. It is button 1 and tracked button. Okay. Here on a page, we've got one button right here. And if we go down here to advanced, you'll notice that it has the class tracked button and a second button that has the class tracked button the second. So they match these 2 click tracks. And literally all we had to do was add the name of the button, the ID, and that's really all you have to do. But you can also add additional properties here if you want it. That's what this down here is. Now, once we did that, we are now tracking in GA4 on this site. Acquisition. No. Hang on. Conversions. Hang on. I got to remember where this is. Well, I know it's here. Events. There it is. Let me just go to home. It's down here in home. Okay, this is not showing what it showed earlier. Just a minute. I should have left that window open. It's under. Just a moment. There it is. Behavior and events overview. Sorry about that. So as we scroll down, we should see day, week. Oh, this is, hang on. That's the wrong, I'm on the wrong site. No wonder. I'm like, what the heck? I was looking at the wrong website. And I still think I'm looking at the wrong website. I'm signed into the wrong account. Just a minute. This is what happens when you run Google accounts in multiple tabs. Anybody else have that problem? Like I'm running Google Analytics in too many places. WP Nathan, GA4. There we go. Now we have analytics that means something. Okay, so we want to go to It's reports, no, engagement, events. Yes. So now as we look at this, look, we have buttons showing up. Now, GA4 is not real time, but it about every half hour or so, the analytics refresh and you'll start to see these clicks. So there's our 2 events that have come from button 1 and button 2 that we just set up right here. No tag manager, no extra stuff. We just set them up right here with this codeless. And it just knows to show up over here. Once I've attached my Google account, my analytics account to it, it starts showing up over here as an event, and it totally works. So for those of you who have tried and had struggles with setting up event tracking in GA4, this makes it so easy. I mean, y'all, it is literally, it is just name it, put the class in, and you're done. That's it. That's all you have to do. And it just shows up. So GA4 is getting better. It's not nearly as robust as Universal Analytics yet, but this big hurdle of making all the events work, it's not easy. This makes it a ton easier. So that is Goal Tracker from PineWise. Any last questions or comments on this one before we wrap up? All right, folks, that brings us to the end of the October 2022 Plugin Roundup here on iThemes Training. And as always, we're going to take a vote to see what is your favorite plugin of the Roundup. One vote only, please. And we'll tabulate these going forward for the best of webinar in December. So let's see, Goal Tracker, Block, Diffusion, Media, Merge Menu, Goal Tracker, Stepper, Goal Tracker, Marquee, Paul. Goal Tracker. Okay, Goal Tracker is definitely, it looks like menu merge and stepped content also in there. Media Deduper got a vote. All right, so it looks like media merge and Goal Tracker. That should be menu merge and Goal Tracker for sure. Step content also, those 3. Yeah, very good. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for us today. I will share with you what is happening this week on iThemes Training. Let's see. There is no webinar tomorrow. However, we do have office hours on Thursday. And let me just remind you that we just scheduled this webinar week before last. If this is a great webinar you'll want to see, even if you're not a GiveWP user, this is something you want to be aware of because it's a really interesting way how the Give team has started to use the Cadence Cloud. So they've actually set up a free cloud, Cadence Cloud, of GiveWP patterns that you can just drop right in your nonprofit websites. It's super easy to use, and it's available for everybody. That is the GiveWP Cloud. And Amanda Gorman from GiveWP, who was with us last month, was it? Yeah, about preparing your nonprofit site for the giving season. She was awesome. She's going to be back with Kathy Zant talking about that along with myself next Tuesday. We also have proposals and contracts for the Fly course on next Wednesday, and then, of course, office hours on Thursday, and the news roundup coming up on the 18th. So with that, I will wrap it up for today. Hope you have a great rest of the day. I'll see you back here Thursday for office hours here on iThemes Training, where we go further together.